Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Friend Chad Pearson, and welcome again to my channel. It is July 24th of 2024. Happy Wednesday, and it is 8:18 in the a.m. My fellow Americans, everybody has their hot button issue and their hot button issues. One of my hot button issues is immigration. I've talked about it extensively, and I'm telling you, I did a video a few weeks ago called The Final Blow. You gotta check it out. The Final Blow. I've been following this thing for a long time, just like you. And I'm looking at both sides. I'm looking at the Biden administration, whom allegedly Biden gave that responsibility to Kamala Harris, who's now running for president of the United States. I have been recently saying, and that is the conviction of my heart, if she could not take care of the border crisis, she ain't got no business running for president. You come up the ladder and you check off the issues before you as VP. It's like that's your training day, right? That's your training ground. And we see how you handle it to see if you can graduate to the top. I give her an F. That is, if I'm gonna give her a report card, I'm gonna give her an F. Not because it's the lowest grade, but it's failure. And failure economically, failure politically, failure socially. When you have a policy of, let me go to Guatemala, let me go to Mexico, let me go to these foreign countries, and I want to find out what the root cause is, why people come and immigrate to America, you have lost the battle. You have lost the battle. Why do I say that? Because in hindsight, and look at it right now, that responsibility was given to her in 2021. So arguably close to 3 years ago. 3 years ago. And we have had more migration, more illegals come over than any other time in history, and in a short period of time. That's why I labeled my video a few weeks ago called The Final Blow. This is going to continue to bloat the American budget to the point where we are going to economically collapse. I am not saying that I am blaming the immigration issue in terms of the economy on them. But to me, in this short period of time of close to 3.5 years of Biden administration, this is the final blow to kill off America. Is that their intent? I do not believe these people are representing in our best interests. I believe there are globalists. They want a one world system. And the hidden objective is to bring as many people over to change the dynamics, the complexion, the economics, the social, the everything, the morals, everything. So you can no longer look at it as America anymore, making it unrecognizable. To me, this is the hidden agenda, and they're not going to tell you. I believe they have conspired with the one welders, and that is their goal, that is their aim. And when you put it in perspective, this is why they're fighting to keep that power. And this is one of the main reasons why they kept and propped Joe up for 3.5 years. I'm just telling you how I feel. They kept him propped up. And now he's worn out his usefulness, and now they're gonna have Kamala in there for probably the next, to finish it off. And then, we'll see what happens. They want to maintain that power. It is a Herculean challenge to turn it around. I have to hooray former President Trump for trying, but I'm telling you, that will be the reason why they will eventually go after him and take him out. Because immigration is that one tool necessary by the powers to change America. You see, they want to get rid of America. Make no mistake about it. So the only thing I can say is pray for him, gather around him, protect him. They've already shown you that the Secret Service is questionable. I believe that was done on purpose by the powers. I believe that the director was, she had to resign, but it doesn't take care of the internal problem. The internal problem is just like any other pillar here in America. Allegedly, to me, all of our major systems and pillars have been infiltrated. We're talking about a takeover so it can just basically implode. And what happens is that now Congress goes back and forth in the blame game with the news and all that, when the reality is that the news is not going to tell you like I'm going to tell you. We have an internal move to collapse all of our pillars, including our economy, and also, like I said, immigration is the final blow. So let's start out with David Pakman, and we'll have a succession of videos in relation to Biden stepping down, Kamala, what she's doing, and then end this thing with Trump, immigration, and solutions. And again, thank you for joining me.
President Biden resign. It's not enough for them that he said, I'm stepping aside. In fact, they're terrified about the fact that he's stepping aside, because if the nominee were to be Kamala Harris or Gavin Newsom or Josh Shapiro or Gretchen Whitmer or Pete Buttigieg or honestly whoever is being considered right now, they would all mop the floor with Donald Trump in a debate, which is probably why Donald Trump is going to have to not debate under those circumstances and is already setting that up. So because this is not enough for Republicans, they now are going to demand that President Biden resign. The argument they will make is if he's not fit to run for re-election, he's not fit to be president. Of course, all Joe Biden said is, I'm not running for re-election. That's it. I think it's in the best interest of the country that I not run. They would still be in the position of having to prove that he can't be president right now.
Now, do you go along with this guy's assessment? I think he's way off base. Ain't nobody mopping Donald Trump. Ain't nobody mopping the floor with Donald Trump. It's not happening. Nobody's mopping Donald Trump. Nobody's mopping the floor with him. So I don't know what this guy is talking about. He's somewhere over the rainbow with his ideas. It's not happening. So this perspective, I'm throwing it in the garbage, because a debate is not going to change anything. There is a momentum that has happened. See, the flip side of Joe Biden is that it has unnerved people, agree? To the point where they getting up and saying, I'm taking my country back. And even if Trump does, let's say, break even in the debate and they can poke holes in what he got to say, the bottom line is when you go to the supermarket and inflation hits you in your wallet and your head and your butt at the same time, when you see all these immigrants in your neighborhood getting everything from the rooter to the tutor, and your neighbor is sleeping out in the street, trust me, that's going to pale in comparison to a debate. So I don't know what David Pakman is talking about. So I just want to show you how, to me, even these people who do the same thing I do, they're not living in our reality. They're not living in our reality. Now, to the issue in terms of Biden resigning, he should have been out of there. It's one thing to say I'm gonna be out of the race. Yeah, he need to get out. But hey, we'll see what happens in time. And now we got George Clooney. Allegedly, after all that needed to be done, boom. He's now gonna back Harris. Check it out.
George.
So yeah, Clooney's in there. The donors are coming out of woodwork. The last thing I heard is that she now has 100 million. She's collected over 100 million in 48 hours. People, it's not going to matter. Right now, the way I look at it, it's going to be a landslide. There's no way in the world they can beat Donald Trump. It's no way, and you know it. So the bottom line is, Clooney's like, well, democracy was saved now that Biden has dropped out the race. No. Interject the word ruined. It's going to be ruined under these policies. And until this media gets it right, the biggest war we have is not the politicians. It's the information war that we're facing. Put in the comment section if you think the same. Check this out. Kamala Harris. They're saying ahead, and Kamala Harris ahead of Trump in the polls. That's a lie. That's a bold-faced lie. She had to drop out when she ran for president back in the day. I think she got less than 3 delegates. Come on, man, stop playing. I told y'all, it's a war. Listen to this.
Endorsement from the Obamas, unless I've missed it. What's that all about, Trudy?
No, I think he has this idea, and he's done it for some time, that he doesn't want to weigh in before there's a final outcome. He wants to come in at the end and prove to be the kind of bringing together a unifying factor. I think at this point, though, now it would be fine to him to come out. There's no one else who's challenging her, is there? We saw the key top Democrats on the Hill today decide to put out their endorsement, that being Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer. So we're starting to see even big Democrats come. But as you say, George Clooney's on board. He's a close ally of Barack Obama. He got back on the tent today. Interesting to see if Barack Obama is close behind.
Okay, just finally, the millions of
Now, okay, let's finish this out.
dollars have continued to roll in. In fact, she's attracting more campaign funding than what Joe Biden even did.
Yeah, big money coming in that first 36 hours, more than 100 million American dollars going to Kamala Harris. I did note, I just saw the Republicans are trying to put...
Now, I would argue, I'm in the middle. I'm neither Republican or Democrat, but I'm in the middle. So one could argue, you're buying the White House. Yes, I said it. You're buying the White House. This has never been done. This is unprecedented. 81 million and now it's 100 million in this short period of time. How bad do you want that seat? When you look at just immigration alone, people, when you look at the economy tied to that, you have to at some point look at it from how I'm looking at it. The economy is tied into immigration. You can't separate it. But you got $100 million in less than 48 hours. Why do they want the seat that bad? That's what you have to ask yourself. If they get back up in there, they're going to destroy this thing. They're hiding behind the wedge issues, which I won't get into because I'll get in trouble here. But they're hiding behind the wedge issues. This alone, this money movement, should make you think, why do they want it that bad? Because I'm telling you, they want to disintegrate America and move on with their one world system agenda. That's what this is about. It got nothing to do with Kamala, and it had nothing to do with Biden.
I want to bring in CNN's David Gangel to talk a little bit about that. Nancy Pelosi has just endorsed Kamala Harris in her presidential run, and it seems like she may be not the last when it comes to either former or current congressional leaders.
So I think we're going to see today the trifecta of Democratic leaders. We just heard Nancy Pelosi, former speaker. I am told by multiple sources that as soon as today, and I would guess today, we're going to see Senator Schumer on the Senate side, leader there, and Hakeem Jeffries on the House side. That would leave just Barack Obama as the only sort of major party leader. But I think what's important is you are seeing an avalanche of support. The party is coalescing. They did not want a messy, multi-candidate speed dating, quick primary going into this.
And what they want allegedly is what I said and what I'm going to continue to say. They want to allegedly destroy America. These people who are coming out here, parading around like they got your best interests in heart, have allowed Joe Biden to literally break the law and say, let's go to these different foreign countries and find out the root cause. Joe has been in politics since Moses went up to the mountain to see God for 10 commandments. Yes, he's been there that long. And you're gonna sit here and tell me, now he's got this brilliant idea to get together and let's explore why they're coming over there, why they're coming over here. Everybody and their mama know why they're coming over here. And many of us know that the same powers that have worked internally to destroy this thing, those are the same powers that have worked together to destroy the foreign countries, which allows them to flood over here and then allegedly control our border in relation to the laws that our politicians, particularly Biden and Harris, don't uphold. Now let's make it personal. Here it is right here. Just came out 2 days ago. Chicago leaders brace for as many as 2,500 new migrants ahead of DNC. We just, let me get rid of this here. All right, let's go forward again. Well, it looks like I can't get that article, so I'll look at another one. Chicago leaders, here you go, brace for as many as 2,500 new immigrants ahead of DNC. We just need to be prepared. So I can't get into that. What it gets into is this, people. They're bringing 2,500 new migrants over in Chicago. We're already bursting at the seams. Chicago is a test city. And trust me, they're now going out to the suburbs. The same thing is happening here. And there's nothing but chaos. Because after 60 days, they're putting the men out in the street. The women with the babies, they're allowed to stay in shelters or government paid apartments, better than yours and mine, with health care, food, free schooling, all that. But the men are getting put out. And now you're adding 2,500 to the mix. I'm gonna show you a video where this one guy who's doing a documentary called Treason, Redacted, interviews this guy about once a month. The book will be out, the film will be out in about a month, I believe. Give or take a few weeks. But in that documentary, this guy came to Chicago. And I'm telling you, the money being spent on migrants, they have killed Chicago. I live in Chicago. I'm telling you, they have killed it. They have killed Chicago. And in the freezing cold, people of all races walked up to the warming centers and walked up to the warming buses, asking to come in to sit down and eat inside of a bus and stay warm. The bus driver would not let them in. They only let the migrants come in the dead of winter. Your country is being sold out, and they're starting with the black and brown, bottom line.
I would have changed the byline.
Now let's go to the redacted here. I want to say the 609 part. Let's see here.
This had to have the decision to use.
Now what he's done, this is the guy I'm saying who has the video coming out. He was a Border Patrol agent for 24 years. He got out, he was tired of fighting the system. And now he's doing a documentary. He was here in Chicago a little over 2 months ago. He's traveling around the world, around America, dealing with the immigration issue. I featured him before. The bottom line is, once he got into going from city to city and state to state about this immigration thing, he's saying basically he would have changed his understanding and title of the book because this was a deliberate unconstitutional assault on America, basically to bring it down. Listen to him.
To hide the belly of the beast with NGOs, and I'm stunned. But when you look at it, the revelation that I had was this had to have the decision to use illegal immigration as the vehicle to destroy America was a intentional and purposeful decision, meaning prior to Joe Biden being sworn into office, they had to have had meetings at the highest level of government, sitting around a room like this and having open discussions. What are we doing? How are we going to do this? And there had to have been agreement. It's illegal immigration. That's how we're going to fundamentally transform America. How do I know that? Is because I believe strongly in listening to their words and then looking at their actions. Day one, Joe Biden signs 94 executive orders, obliterating every policy that Donald J. Trump had in place that provided the most secure border in the history of the United States. Let's say you hate whoever the opponent.
Joe Biden obliterated 94 laws that Trump had put in place. People, that sounds deliberate. I said it sounds deliberate. This is why this is in my top 3 or top 5 hot button issues. I'm about sustaining America until Jesus comes. How about you? Check out this video. Redacted. Americans have no idea what's about to hit them. It's stunning. Former border agent. Okay. Let's go to the next one here. This is Trump when he was at the Republican National Convention on immigration. Listen.
Today, our cities are flooded with illegal aliens. Americans are being squeezed out of the labor force and their jobs are taken. By the way, you know who's taking the jobs that are created? 107% of those jobs are taken by illegal aliens. And you know who's being hurt the most by millions of people pouring into our country? The black population and the Hispanic population, because they're taking the jobs from our black population, our Hispanic population, and they're also taking them from unions. The unions are suffering because of it. Thank you. Thank you. I like you too.
The man is 100% right. And this gentleman, he talks about it in this interview. He talks about how even when it came down to education, blacks have been pushed to the side in terms of money. The immigrants are getting the money because the education and the development is on their kids as opposed to black kids. We are seeing a takeover and the first destruction and the first leg of it right before our very eyes. Joe Biden got to get up out of there, period. Now check this out.
And time playing golf.
I want to get into this interview now. At the 4:13 mark, Trump was interviewed along with his VP. Let's talk about immigration, people.
Be a narco state too.
We're getting close to it.
Are you prepared for the hysteria from the left legally, bureaucratically, when you do mass deportations?
So Dwight Eisenhower, who people consider a moderate, he probably wasn't as moderate as people think, but Dwight Eisenhower did the largest deportation ever in this country. He was very big on people not coming into our countries, people breaking our sealed borders, right? And the hardest thing in a certain way is exactly what you said. We have to get some very bad people out of this country. And as soon as we perhaps we take a woman with 2 children, 3 children, she shouldn't be here, but she's a nice woman, the children are beautiful, and all of a sudden it ends up being a front page story of the liberal newspapers. And you're right, it's a hard thing to do, harder than a long time ago with Dwight Eisenhower, right? A lot harder. Nobody complained. In those days it was, we had a country.
It's going to happen, people. And they're going to pull at your heartstrings. But remember their intent. Look, people, it is hard when you're dealing with children. I'm assuming Trump at some point will, as he sends them back, yeah, the anchor babies and everybody, maybe he'll give them some money to start off. I don't know. But to me, the blame starts with the Biden administration. They have killed our economy and killed our future. That's just the bottom line. I'm just showing you the positions of where Trump is, of what's coming. So if you know somebody illegal, let them know. They need to leave right now, because Trump is not playing. He's going to repeat Eisenhower, and I believe, and more.
In months of taking.
So now let's go into this next one. Border control. A little history of it. With Harris, okay, and with Kamala Harris.
That's why I've asked the Vice President of the United States yesterday to be the lead person on dealing with focusing on the fundamental reasons why people leave Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador in the first place.
The assignment for Vice President Kamala Harris was to focus on what was happening south of the border, in the countries from which migrants were coming. She was never actually named Border Czar. That was a moniker coined by Republicans, and it stuck.
Now remember, Vice President Harris was appointed the Border Czar. Whatever happened to that?
House Speaker Mike Johnson used the czar term when calling her completely inept. Vice President Harris traveled to Mexico and Guatemala in June of 2021, and in her remarks focused on economic instability, violence, and corruption, telling migrants the border is not open.
The goal of our work is to help Guatemalans find hope at home. At the same time, I want to be clear to folks in this region who are thinking about making that dangerous trek.
She basically said, don't come. You can't speak to the issue verbally without upholding the law. And she broke the law. And the babies, when Trump does what he does, that's on Kamala. And that's on Trump. Because if you go back and listen to this guy, you'll find out a lot of his friends have psychological issues. They have been killed at the border. They're scared because they're going to be sued because they can't fight back. Listen to this interview on Redacted. It will blow your mind. Can you imagine you're handcuffed because of these policies that have come down? So not only did you relax the laws about immigration, now you can't even fight back on the border that you're supposed to be protecting. You can't even protect yourself. Listen to this guy, because the liberal media is not going to tell you the truth. The babies are on Biden's watch, on Kamala's watch. And again, how's she going to run for president and she couldn't take care of this one issue? And while all this money coming in for her in 2 days, in 48 hours, $100 million, there's got to be an underlining reason. They want America and want to take it down so we can go into the one world system. Now, here's an interview back in the day with Lester Holt in relation to her responding about immigration after she was allegedly put in charge of it.
Another topic I wanted to talk to you about, but let me just quickly put a button.
Okay.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
I'm here in Guatemala today. At some point.
Did you see her face? Watch her eyes twitch and turn her head. She can't answer that.
To visit the border.
I'm here in Guatemala today. At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe.
Stupid response.
I understand the point that you're making. I'm not discounting the importance of the border.
Well, I mentioned it because even I know Republicans have certainly come at you on this, but Democratic Congressman Cuellar has a border district has said to you and the president, come. You need to see this.
Listen, I care about what's happening at the border. I'm in Guatemala.
No, you don't.
Because my focus is dealing with the root causes of migration. There may be some who think that is not important,
but it is my firm belief that if we care about what's happening at the border, we better care about the root causes and address them. And so that's what I'm doing.
It's not the only tough issue President Biden...
People, do not get caught up in this. Biden got rid of 94 laws which protected us. In less than 3.5 years, the Rusum Tusum with their policies and all this fakery. Remember, it's allegedly that she just sold him out so she could have position. It's dirty all over. They needed him to get up in there, these powers, to do what they did. Now that he's worn out his welcome and his mind is messed up allegedly and his health is deteriorating, now they've got her to finish the job. Remember he said finish the job? She's to finish the job. And remember, I taught you in a few videos, Kamala means lotus flower. Out of the lotus flower historically comes what? The sun god Ra. What is their universal goal? A one world system. One world system.
President...
Now here's some history on deportation back in the day. You know, and again, they're gonna sell this thing, you know, with the babies and everything. This is their problem. It's what they have made.
The Mexican community itself, that this occurred during the Great Depression, a period of vast unemployment and underemployment, that at least over 1 million, Joe Dunn thinks in terms of maybe almost 2 million individuals, Mexican nationals and American citizens of Mexican descent were swept up and expelled out of this country. And it covered the entire United States, from Alabama and Mississippi to Alaska, from Los Angeles to New York. This mass expulsion occurred. And of a population that included Mexican nationals, many of them that had lived in this country 20, 30 years. But increasingly important is the 60% or more of American citizens of Mexican descent. In other words, what occurred here was...
So, you see it's been done before. Theme, season, and cycle. I pray that we get the money to do this, not from us, but cut some of the policies that Biden put into place and Congress agree, and then we can pay for the thing. Because if that doesn't happen, we're gonna go in deeper debt. They're gonna come after Trump in one way or another, hint, hint. That's why I'm telling you, he won't be around long. But my goal, again, is to endure. We're fighting a power, a hidden power, whose goals and objectives started July 4th of 1776. America was never meant for you. They finally got the technology. They finally got the banking. They finally got everything in place so they can now finish and envelope this thing. And this country, which they use to go around the world with the military might, economic, governmental, and the policies to destroy everybody else. Now it's our turn. What did George Orwell say? Don't let it happen. I'll play that video too, looks like. Now check this out. Deportation at the end, from historical perspective.
The biggest mass deportation happened in 1954. It happened under the administration of Eisenhower, and that deportation resulted in the deportation of about over 1 million people of Mexican descent. To be clear, this mass deportation did lead to the deportation of a lot of American citizens as well, and that was kind of overlooked.
The Trump administration vows to bring back the controversial Eisenhower program, but this could put a target on the back of many.
Well, you have both the Republican and Democratic parties using it in their own political ways. Specifically, Donald Trump has referenced the 1954 deportation, and it kind of makes anybody of Mexican descent a suspect.
A member from the Trump's campaign says Americans can expect that immediately upon President Trump's return to the Oval Office, he will restore all of his prior policies, implement brand new crackdowns that will send shockwaves to all of the world's criminal smugglers.
Oh yeah, and marshal every federal and state power necessary to institute the largest deportation operation in American history. It's coming. I said it's coming. Now check this out. George Orwell's final words. George Orwell's final words. I want to show this to you. This is very, very important. I got to find that one part where she asked him. She literally asked him. So let me see if I can key it up. It's probably going to be right here. Let's see if I can dance around and get this here.
Satisfied with it. I think it is a good idea, but the execution would have been better if I had not.
All right, so let's see if we get it here.
A portrait of the future.
I think that allowing for the book being, after all, a parody, something like 1984 could actually happen. This is the direction the world is going in at the present time. In our world, there will be no emotions except fear, rage, triumph, and self-abasement. The sex instinct will be eradicated. We shall abolish the orgasm. There will be no loyalty except loyalty to the party. But always there will be the intoxication of power. Always, at every moment, there will be the thrill of victory, the sensation of trampling on an enemy who is helpless. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. The moral to be drawn from this dangerous nightmare situation is a simple one. Don't let it happen.
Don't let it happen, America. I'm French Shot Pearson. Like the word, please subscribe, thumbs up, and share it. God bless you. God bless America.